Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, transports readers to the author's early years, when he was exposed to two opposing viewpoints on wealth and money. His biological father, sometimes known as the poor dad, on the one hand, led a conventional life working hard, collecting a regular salary, and experiencing constant financial hardship. The rich dad, on the other hand, was the father of his closest friend and had an individual viewpoint on money that helped him achieve prosperity. As Kiyosaki explores the contrasting guidance he obtained from these two individuals, the book transforms into a compelling narrative of financial understanding. It pushes readers to think critically about society's standards and conventional wisdom regarding money. Kiyosaki gives a compelling account of the transformational potential of financial education through memorable stories and intriguing thoughts. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is one of the best-selling personal finance books of all time, having sold over 40 million copies worldwide and being translated into several languages. This book's persistent popularity and relevancy can be seen in the years that it has remained on bestseller lists. Readers have found connection in the book's core message of financial education and mentality transformation, which has motivated them to take charge of their financial life. Oprah Winfrey expressed the following regarding this book: "I truly believe that Rich Dad, Poor Dad has the power to change people's lives and their financial future." The CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, Elon Musk, stated that Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a must-read for anyone who wants to escape the rat race and achieve financial independence. The book explores accepted assumptions around money and emphasizes the value of financial education. Here are a few important takeaways from the book. 1. The rich don't work for money. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki challenges accepted wisdom by delivering an intriguing message: rich people don't work for money. This provocative idea pushes readers to reconsider their relationship with money and consider different avenues for achieving financial success. To demonstrate this idea, Kiyosaki uses stories from his time spent with his rich dad. His rich dad was a prosperous businessman who never relied on a regular salary or a traditional job to build up wealth. Rather, he concentrated on creating businesses and real estate investments that produced passive income. By using this strategy, he was able to generate a consistent flow of income that was more than what he could have made from a regular employment. Kiyosaki draws a comparison between the mindset of an employee and that of an investor or entrepreneur in order to highlight this point even more. He draws attention to the fact that workers frequently exchange their time and abilities for a set pay, which lowers their earning potential. Conversely, investors and business owners use their capital, expertise, and imagination to generate wealth that can increase rapidly. Kiyosaki challenges readers to change their perspective from relying just on employment to actively looking for chances to invest in and produce assets that can provide income. He places a strong emphasis on the value of financial literacy and familiarity with a variety of investment vehicles, including stocks, real estate, and businesses. People can unlock limitless financial opportunities and escape the confines of a paycheck by becoming knowledgeable and taking sensible risks. Kiyosaki uses the success stories of people who made the move from employees to successful investors and entrepreneurs to highlight the significance of this mentality change. He emphasizes how they invested in assets that increased in value or produced steady passive income, which allowed them to accumulate wealth and reach financial freedom. The story of a couple that began investing in real estate while they still had jobs in regular employment is one such instance. Their rental properties eventually brought in enough money to cover their wages, which freed them up to leave their occupations and concentrate on growing their real estate holdings. Kiyosaki illustrates how accumulating assets and producing passive income can result in financial freedom in this encouraging story. Rich Dad, Poor Dad challenges the conventional wisdom about working for money, which stimulates readers' interest and motivates them to look into different avenues for achieving financial success. This book is a wake-up call, challenging readers to adopt an investor or entrepreneur's mindset and escape the limitations of a job. Readers are able to create their own route to financial independence and an abundant life by equipping oneself with the necessary information, mindset, and willingness to take measured chances. 2. Financial literacy is crucial. Robert Kiyosaki brings awareness to the crucial, but sometimes disregarded area of financial literacy. He is an enthusiastic supporter of gaining financial understanding and mastering the fundamental ideas that serve as the foundation for accumulating wealth. Kiyosaki gives readers the tools they need to take charge of their financial situation and make wise decisions that can result in long-term wealth by exploring the significance of financial literacy. Kiyosaki's own experience is conclusive proof of the value of financial literacy. He describes how his wealthy father, who had a solid background in finance, used that expertise to build up an enormous fortune. On the other hand, even though Kiyosaki's poor father was a solid scholar, his lack of financial literacy caused him to live a life of financial hardship. In order to demonstrate the significance of financial literacy, Kiyosaki educates readers through key ideas like cash flow, assets, liabilities, and taxes. He stresses how crucial it is to comprehend how money enters and exits a person's life and how to use it to your advantage rather than against it. Understanding cash flow allows people to make smart decisions that will boost their income and accumulate wealth. The difference between assets and liabilities, which is critical for financial success, is another point made by Kiyosaki. According to him, liabilities are out-of-pocket expenses, whereas assets are investments or sources of income that put money in one's pocket. Through concentrating on obtaining assets that increase in value or produce passive income, people can establish a strong financial base. The book also explores the subject of taxes, demonstrating the ways in which people might gain from knowing the tax code. According to Kiyosaki, wealthy people can reduce their tax burdens and increase their wealth by employing smart tax methods. He shows how tax knowledge may result in large savings and enhanced wealth growth through examples and stories. In order to highlight the significance of financial literacy, Kiyosaki presents stories of people who were able to improve their financial circumstances via a deeper comprehension of these ideas. The story of a young man who launched a business and first struggled because he lacked financial literacy is one such instance. But he was able to turn his company around and become financially successful after devoting time and energy to studying about cash flow and financial management. Kiyosaki urges readers to prioritize their financial education by emphasizing the importance of financial literacy. In order to further develop their level of expertise, he advises people to look for resources, go to seminars, and enroll in classes. People who possess financial literacy are better able to manage their finances, effectively navigate the complicated world of money, and eventually accumulate substantial wealth. 3. Assets vs. liabilities. Assets and liabilities are the two categories of items that humans can possess, according to Kiyosaki. Liabilities are things that take money away from you, whereas assets are things that bring you money. In order to becoming wealthy and financially independent, Kiyosaki recommends his readers to concentrate on acquiring more assets and fewer liabilities. Kiyosaki employs a straightforward formula to help readers comprehend the distinction between assets and liabilities. Revenue less expenses equals cash flow. The money you get from your work, business, or investments is known as your income. The money you spend on necessities and wants, such food, rent, bills, taxes, etc., is called an expense. The money you have left over after covering your expenses is known as cash flow. Your cash flow is positive if your income exceeds your spending. You have negative cash flow when your income is less than your out-of-pocket costs. Anything that generates positive cash flow for you, even when you're not working, is considered an asset, according to Kiyosaki. As an illustration, consider a rental home that brings in money from the rent, a dividend-paying investment, a royalties-earning book, etc. These are assets since they pay you a monthly income with little effort on your part. However, even when you have a job, anything that results in a negative cash flow for you is considered a liability, according to Kiyosaki. For instance, a car that requires maintenance, gas, and auto payments, a house that requires mortgage, taxes, and repairs, a credit card that imposes fees and interest, etc. Regardless of how hard you work, these are liabilities since they deduct money from your wallet each month. According to Kiyosaki, the majority of people, including his poor dad, are caught in a vicious cycle where they labor hard to make money, then spend it all on debts they mistakenly believe to be assets. Though they believe they are expanding their riches, they are actually increasing their debt and spending as they purchase pricey homes, cars, clothes, electronics, and other items. They finally find themselves working longer hours just to make ends meet, leaving them with little money left over to invest in actual assets. They are poor, not wealthy. However, Kiyosaki asserts that wealthy people like his rich dad have a distinct way of thinking. They put in a lot of effort to obtain money, which they afterwards utilize to purchase things that increase their revenue. They purchase businesses, stocks, bonds, rental properties, and other assets that provide passive income for them. After deducting their liabilities from their assets, they have money left over to make more asset investments. They are wealthy, not poor. A house, according to Kiyosaki, unless it generates rental revenue for you, a property is a liability rather than an asset. According to him, most individuals purchase homes that are too large and costly for them, and as a result, they wind up spending more for maintenance, insurance, taxes, and mortgage than they earn for appreciation. He claims that a house depletes your monthly income and is a consumer good rather than an investment. A business is an asset, according to Kiyosaki, if it can function without you. According to him, the majority of people launch companies that rely on their presence and participation, and they ultimately become employees rather than owners of those companies. According to him, a company is an asset if it has a staff and a system that allow it to run without your input and generates income for you each month. 4. The power of mindset. Your success or failure in terms of money can be determined by your mindset and attitude toward it. According to Kiyosaki, the majority of individuals have a poor mindset, which causes them to fear money, shy away from taking chances, and embrace failure. He claims that their social conditioning, education, and upbringing all had an impact on this way of thinking. He compares this to having a rich mindset, which entails having financial confidence, being willing to take calculated risks, and being quick to seize financial growth chances. According to him, experience, mentors, and financial education all contribute to the development of this mindset. By contrasting his two fathers, his real father, whom he refers to as his poor dad, and the father of his best friend, whom he refers to as his rich dad, Kiyosaki demonstrates the importance of attitude. Despite having a stable pension, a PhD, and a well-paying career, his poor dad was constantly depressed, living paycheck to paycheck, and complaining about his circumstances in life. His wealthy father received minimal formal education, but he was a successful businessman and investor who was constantly building fortune, enjoying financial independence, and imparting financial knowledge to his son. According to Kiyosaki, the distinction between his two fathers was not their level of education or wealth, but rather their perspectives on and handling of money. Fear. According to Kiyosaki, the primary feeling that prevents people from becoming wealthy is fear. According to him, the majority of individuals fear failing, losing money, being rejected, or receiving negative feedback. According to him, these fears keep people from taking action, making mistakes, and seizing possibilities. He claims that embracing, understanding, and harnessing fear as motivation is how his rich dad taught him to overcome fear. According to him, his rich dad also instilled in him the value of having a positive outlook on failure and viewing it as a necessary component of learning rather than a permanent condition. Risk. According to Kiyosaki, risk is another element that divides the rich from the poor. According to him, the majority of individuals would rather play it safe and save their money in a retirement fund or investment account because they believe investing to be dangerous. This is actually a risky plan, he explains, as taxes, fees, and inflation can gradually reduce the value of their money. He claims that investing in income-producing assets like stocks, real estate, and companies, as well as taking measured risks, are lessons he learned from his rich dad. He claims that learning about finances, conducting research, and consulting experts are all ways his rich dad has taught him to lower risk. Opportunity. According to Kiyosaki, this is another factor that separates the rich from the poor. According to him, the majority of people ignore the opportunities present in the market in favor of focusing on the challenges, issues, and rivalry. He claims that their lack of vision, creativity, and financial education is the cause of this. He claims that his rich dad developed in him the ability to find opportunities where others perceive obstacles and to find solutions where others perceive complaints. According to him, he was also encouraged to be proactive by his wealthy father and to look for chances rather than waiting for them to present themselves. 5. Learn from failures. He believes that in order for someone to succeed financially, failures are both inevitable and essential. You can improve your abilities, knowledge, and tactics by using the insightful criticism and lessons that come with failures. Failures put your resilience and determination to the test, two traits necessary for conquering difficulties and roadblocks. Additionally, he draws a comparison between this idea and the way of thinking of his poor dad, who chose a secure career over one that would make him wealthy because he was terrified of failing and taking chances. Instead of making money work for him, his poor dad taught him to work hard for what he had. He related the stories of his own financial achievements and setbacks, including launching his own companies, making real estate investments, and losing money in the stock market. He demonstrates how he utilized the lessons he acquired to his future ventures and how he used his setbacks as opportunities to learn from his rich dad and other mentors. In the book, Kiyosaki describes how, as a young child, he learned how to market comic books. Together with his friend Mike, he purchased second-hand comic books from a store and charged other children to read them. Before the owner of the store found them and stopped selling them comic books, they were making an adequate income from their venture. Rather than giving up, they took what they learned from their mistake and discovered the local library as another place to get comic books. To increase their earnings, they checked out comic books from the library and rented them out to other children. They also gained knowledge on how to deal with peer competition and bargain with a librarian. They learned a lot about business from this experience, including how to identify a niche, provide value, and handle issues. Additionally, Kiyosaki discusses his real estate investing education. He and his spouse Kim used a clever financing strategy that Rich Dad had taught them to purchase their first home with no money down. Every month, they generated a positive income flow by renting out the property. They did, however, also had to deal with a number of difficulties, including tenants, maintenance, taxes, and legal matters. They made a lot of blunders and lost money on several transactions, but they also developed their abilities and expertise and learned from their experiences. They gradually amassed a portfolio of properties that brought them passive income and helped them become financially independent. Kiyosaki offers some insightful advice, one of which is how he overcame his fear of failing. According to him, the largest barrier keeping people from reaching their objectives and desires is fear. According to him, the majority of people are terrified of failing because society and the educational system have conditioned them to avoid making mistakes and to pursue security and approval. He claims that Rich Dad gave him the ability to confront his concerns and turn them into inspiration for personal development. According to him, he learned from Rich Dad that failure is a necessary component of success rather than the opposite of it. He claims that learning comes from doing, and failing is the only way to do. This is what Rich Dad taught him. This book is very successful and powerful. It has changed the way that a lot of people perceive wealth and money. The author provides a powerful point of view about the significance of financial education, mentality shifts, and taking control of one's financial future through his personal experiences and lessons learned from his two fathers. The book teaches readers about assets, liabilities, cash flow, and the significance of creating passive income streams in order to point out the importance of financial literacy. It questions commonly held beliefs about money and encourages readers to adopt a wealthy mindset by prioritizing investments and assets rather than depending exclusively on a regular job or income. Millions of readers all around the world have found it encouraging to overcome financial hardships, become financially independent, and build better futures for themselves and their families. Its popularity can be traced to its inspirational narrative, useful guidance, and revolutionary effect on readers' financial mindsets. I highly recommend reading this book to everyone who wants to become more financially literate, alter their perspective on money, and take charge of their financial future. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Income Insider, your go-to YouTube channel for more videos about financial education.